Yeah, I think this is about everybody that's going to join. Um, so I guess we can just jump in and start. I have a bunch of VEPs here, and I try to give them colors based on whether I think they're going to make it. So we have the 110 schedule, which says that freeze is coming up. The VEP freeze is coming up on September 2nd, so next week. So uh, I'm not sure if there's risk, like the ones I didn't mark. It's not necessarily an indicator that there's risk, but I think we should raise a flag about the CBT related ones, just to avoid like taking a risk and basically ask for an exception upfront. And I think the development window is pretty long, so I don't see why we wouldn't get an exception. So that's on the CBT side, and I don't think there's anybody from that working group here. But I will definitely propose it to them, and I can help convince maintainers. Yeah, so CBT, guess we could talk about declarative VM state design, but I don't see Alvaro here. So maybe circle back to that later. We have the IO thread virtq web, which in my eyes, it's ready to merge. I noticed a bunch of comments from Lubo, but it's to me it's all bookkeeping, like picking a feature gate name and all that stuff. Like that's not really a blocker. So I think that is going to merge too. Okay, other than that, we also have the OCI artifact. It's a bit less a SIG-storage topic. There's the CDI side, but it's a whole project, so it's not just our review that goes in. I don't see a reason to jump into that. Utility volumes, we have the beta just approved by Itamar, so that's good. We have pull mode design improve, also green. Um, yeah, so I see Alvaro joined. Do we want to chat about the declarative VM state
Sure.
PVC?
Okay.
Right, so let me see if I can find it quickly. Oh, Zoom is terrible. So we have the original design, which is right. So let me start with an overview. We have the VM state PVC, and today that is kind of um, very implicit. Like you don't know that your VM is using it as a user. And this web is about reflecting that, uh, like in the explicit VMI definition. Also opens up the option for people to customize the template of this PVC.
And also adopt already existing pieces, mainly.
Right, right. And design is something um, along, the exact example is here. So it's a VM state field and a VMI spec. So that's how it looks like. And a status field. Which is, by the way, this status struct is really similar to a volume status entry that you already have today.
Yeah.
Right. So the reason I'm bringing this web up is it's kind of more heavy on like a cross project side. It's API on the VM, unlike the others, which are extending like siloed SIG-storage APIs. This one is actually touching the VMI, and we have to get this right, and we also have to get like a real review here from root maintainers or maybe like other SIG maintainers. Maybe I even tried to CC the original author of the feature. Um, Jed Jed was pretty involved, if I remember correctly. He implemented the whole thing years ago. So my suggestion was that we pivot from the kind of like a separate field and instead go with a volume type, which what inspired me was the Kubernetes SA token design. It's not really similar, but it's a if we think of a hybrid between that and ephemeral volumes, I think it kind of presents a common ground for users. So to me, that was like the approach I would take if I had to solve this problem.
Yeah, like kind of agree. I gave some my rationale behind the new field here in this comment, but I absolutely agree that embedding it into a new volume type would be, yeah, something worth considering, definitely.
And you mentioned something about that approach being problematic in the original uh,
Yeah,
design.
so yeah, I reread the original design and didn't see any comments referencing this approach, but I remember during some when implementing the volume helpers, I remember Jet commenting something like this, and this was his argument that this is not part of the guest, so it shouldn't be included in the spec volumes. But again, maybe this was just discussed in a meeting. I can't remember.
Yeah. I think we have some volume types that do that, but I agree it's something we would have to exempt from validation, and it has a cost. It's not like a straightforward. I'm not sure there's a one-to-one precedent to doing this, but I still think it's worth it. Like I did consider it. It's kind of similar to those projected volumes. Like, I don't think you, as a user of the pod, I don't think you manually look up the token. It's more of like a default fallback from like Kubernetes SDKs. So in my mind, it's still worth it. Like, if we have to exempt certain volume type, like the VM state, from having to be in the disk section. I think that's fine. Okay, any other thoughts, or maybe we should try bring Jed in through one of the web calls or something. I'm not sure. Jed is actually not a root approver for VEPs, but it would be good to have him on board
Yeah, absolutely.
regardless.
Yeah, absolutely. I tried to seeing him above in the PR, but I will ping him personally.
Hmm. And obviously we're trying 110 with this VEP, right? We're not
Yeah,
we don't want
yeah.
to. So maybe it's worth to like get uh start asking for extension just to figure out the API right. We can present this as it's like a pivot happened midway or something like that. Just so we're not stressed on next week's deadline.
Okay.
And I think like just communicating that we want this in, we need some more time is already going a long way. Like the development window, if I remember correctly, is pretty long. So I think a week is not too much to ask for. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's I think all I have for this FIP. And let's go back, see if we have anything else interesting. Um, multi. I actually talked to D offline about some of these. Um, multi-checkpoint is going to get a significant shakeup today or tomorrow. D is going to change up things there, so there's no point in talking about that just yet. And there's a couple of other small ones, the ones that I intended to put under this section here, that I really don't see a risk with. Like Alexander has VEPs for a single status field, stuff like that. So yeah, plan to give them a review, and hopefully it's not too painful to get them merged. So that's on the CBT side. Raw IO would call this like blocked. I think the middle ground here, I have a comment there summarizing it. I think the middle ground with this is to kick out the OpenShift stuff outside of KubeVirt, and just by doing that, unblock the web. And yeah, I mean, I fundamentally think it's a core API. Don't see how this fits a plugin. Um, Other than that, the plugin approach fails because of ambient capabilities, which are not available in Kubernetes. So there was like a POC PR that was supposed to make it dynamic so we could add any capability, but that's a no-go. That's like the short version of it. So yeah, D's commenting on it, that trying to bump the conversation so we could at least get us in for, if not 110, 111. And I'm pretty sure last time um, we chatted about this, Michael was saying it's not targeted 110, or at least like it's not urgent for 110. So I think we're good on that. Um, Online VM snapshot. I know it's targeted for 110, but I can't remember if the web reflects it. Okay, so it is officially 110, and I'm not sure what the state is. The happy path was good, but we had a couple of issues with like a failing path. Okay, so it was recently patched to target 110. I would call this at risk. I'm not sure if Norm's here. Sorry. I guess we could ping Noam and ask whether this needs to go into like the extension bulk, because it's again, this has to go in this week. He's the author. My bad. Right. So we have extend hot plug APIs. Last last I heard on this was that author was going to refactor this based on the plugin approach. Redesign around Web 190. So let me ask if this is still targeted 110. Okay. So I think that's a web pass. That's what we had for this one. Does anybody have any other webs that we should bring up and try to advance here? Okay. So with that, I guess we're off to the open floor, and if we have John, I don't mind shuffling the order if you want to start.
Yeah, hi. Can you guys hear me?
Hi, yeah, welcome.
Hi, thanks. Yeah, I've got wanted to raise a couple of items with this group and see if there's any interest. So, as part of some testing I was doing with Kubernetes, I created a basic NVMe driver for DRA to do some testing, and ended up adding VFIO support as well, so we can pass it into KubeVirt and use it there. And I've tested that and it works. So I guess my first question is, so I've talked to various people. I don't know if there's any interest in using it or any use cases. So one thing I wanted to raise here, raise the existence of that with this team and see if there's any interest or any use cases from the storage side where that can be used. So that's kind of point one. And then point two, kind of related to that is this VEP that I have open that's working on the design there, and I've got various feedback on that. And I think it's probably most useful for storage, but it's also useful for GPUs and NICs as well. But the idea behind that VEP is persistent claims for when VMs are, particularly when they're rebooted or when they're restarted. Right now, if you have a resource claim attached to a VM and you restart or stop and start the VM, the VMI is destroyed. The claim is released, and then once it's restarted, then the claim is requested again, or the resource claim is a claim is made. But sometimes, especially if you have storage attached and you want to keep that across reboots, you need a way for that to persist. So this VEP kind of solves that. Whereas, like if you reboot, the claim is held so that you get the exact same hardware across reboots. So that's open now. I'm just trying to see if there's interest in the first one, if there's interest in the second one as well. Just looking for if there's any use cases or usefulness for this group as well. So those are the kind of two things I wanted to raise today and see if there's any interest.
Yeah, I think the overlapping point between the two is that apparently we're gonna start having storage exposed through DRA, which is like I wasn't familiar with this pattern. I thought I was just going to stick to CSI and PVCs, I assumed like the entire GPU realm is going to be the one capturing the DRA flow.
Yeah, it was GPUs and well, it's right. Well, we're working this cycle on GPUs. Well, I guess GPUs and NICs like SRI VFs are already there, and then CPUs as well. And so and again, NVMe is an option and it works, but it it may be so it may not be.
If I recall, the VFIO disk thing has come up before. I forget what the status of it is, though, or we definitely talk about it.
Are you sure it was VFIO?
Do you remember, Alex? Yeah.
Yeah. Are you sure about? Yeah. Let me try finding it. It was forget. Yeah, it was Nebius was exposing their disks this way.
And for NVMe, did you have to have a special version of QEMU for that? Or did you use Fedora or something?
I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I've tested on Fedora and it works. It works there. I haven't really done QEMU directly.
Like the upstream, I think you mean that upstream virt stack is
Yeah,
not
if I recall,
exposed.
yep. If I recall, we aren't supporting that. Like, or at least like QEMU has support for it, but it's not in any distribution like CentOS or RHEL downstream.
Okay, yeah, I didn't use it. I wasn't aware of that.
Actually, I'm aware of at least a few projects doing this SysFS discovery. Michael, maybe you remember too, like there's that project from Shirley, alerting. So it's doing NVMe discovery. Then we have another one that I can't remember. Maybe the autopilot was doing some SysFS discovery. So maybe we could benefit from some part of this driver. If there's like DRA metrics we could capture. But then like the bigger question I have about the driver here is that I know for fact like the common CSI drivers like Trident and stuff, they already expose NVMe through their CSI implementations. I guess this is like about discovering the local attached, but if I'm not mistaken, in their case, it's also local attached. So like why does this require DRA and not CSI? And sorry if this is like an obvious question.
No, I mean,
guess
and
when I
that's why.
mentioned, sorry. Yeah.
No, sorry, good.
The NVMe support I talked about in QEMU is like emulation, not like direct, like device plugin like access to NVMe.
I was just asking about like the non-virt side of this, like the exposing the volume. Like why not just use CSI? I think we cut you off, John.
Oh, sorry. I mean, you probably would. Again, I just wrote this it was mainly for test purposes for some other reasons. And yeah, and like I said, it works. I'm not, that's kind of why I'm raising it here. Maybe CSI is the way to go. And I know that's the way it's used today. And, this driver doesn't have any use, and that's fine. I mean, in my research, CSI seems to be the way people are using it. So I don't really have any reasons that I've seen that you would necessarily use the DRA driver instead. But that's, kind of why I'm here asking. I don't know if this group does have other reasons why it'd be necessary or useful.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And Michael, about that VFIO, I don't think is this what you meant, this VEP here?
Yeah, I remember someone. Sorry, I'm mobile right now, but I do remember someone. I think there was a VEP that someone submitted before that. I forget the exact status of it, but I think they're using it somehow. I think via some combination of sidecar hook, maybe something else.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I guess if I'm trying to answer the persistent resource claims question, I think it is useful. It's I can't craft a SIG-storage case for it just now, but I'm sure like it's useful. I just can't argue against it. The NVMe DRA driver, yeah, like I said, I'm a bit skeptical because I know CSI drivers, like they offer you a whole bunch of other operations on the volume. If you go the DRA path, I think you're kind of giving up on those. But yeah, thank you for raising it.
So the persistent device stuff, I guess that would, like, we could only, I guess, assure that for VMs, and it could still be possible that another pod could claim that device, right? Unless we do something at the Kubernetes level to make that persistent. I guess I'll take a look at the VEP.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Thanks for everybody's feedback. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Right. So I had this topic on the agenda about persistent failures in the new Kubernetes lanes. I think what happened is that either using a based image for the containers that CentOS 10 based lacks some binaries, or it's the KubeVirt CI VM image that's lacking those binaries. I'm not sure which one is it, or if it's one of those at all, but at some point we're going to get cornered into solving this. Right now the lanes are optional, but it's still pretty stressful if you see like SIG-storage failing on your PR, so you're potentially very confused. You're thinking you broke something, but really it's just a persistent failure. If anybody wants to take a look, it would be awesome.
I could probably take a look into this one.
Cool. Thank you. So that's all I had on that part. We also have this live migration across namespaces test that got quarantined, and I know Alexander's out, so he's probably not going to be able to take a look. But we also need to check that like this is not something fundamental that's broken, or something bad like that. Because right now it's in quarantine, and we'll never know if the feature broke. It got auto flagged as like a disruptive test, and got put in quarantine. So we also need somebody to check that part.
Alex, I can check it if anyone is doesn't want to do. I'm totally available to do it.
Okay, yeah, just just for a quick summary, just to provide some update on this thread here that we're trying to reach Alexander, but he's pretty busy right now. So, and he's out on holiday, so he's even more busy.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll just CC you if you have any findings. Yeah, that's you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So I think we got through the agenda. There wasn't anything else. Does anybody have any PRs they want to raise here, or any issues? I guess we could jump into CDI or KubeVirt issues too. Okay, let's try a quick pass over KubeVirt issues. Oh, that one's interesting. Somebody found out that hotplug doesn't work well when the platform enforces auto mount service account token false, which is like the opt-out for injecting the Kubernetes API token into pods. So apparently there's like a hard-coded assumption in the hotplug path that is going to break this. use case, which is like a legit use case. And people enforce this because they want to stay on the right side of security, you know. Obviously, those pods don't need the API token, like the hot plug pod is not doing anything. So it's somewhat wrong to pass it a token. And they posted a PR, 2 PRs. Right. And they're in draft, so yeah, I think I was kind of steering them towards combining the 2 PRs, like they're pretty intertwined. It's had to do with like a static count. Yeah. Try to take a look at the draft PRs. Let me switch off from this SIG-storage view. Just want to make sure we label them SIG-storage to begin with. It's definitely SIG-storage. Looks like Alexander is active on this, so going to skip this one for today. And looks like he's not able to reproduce. Oh, I guess this got labeled instance type because that's where it's where snapshots are going to break. Could use a SIG-storage label anyway. Looks like it's getting enough reviews for now. I assume at some point we're going to get pulled in for SIG-storage approval. Okay. To be honest, I think that's about it for KubeVirt issues. There's an interesting CDI issue the other day. Let me switch to that quickly. It's a nice topic for. It's a nice last topic for the call. Somebody was playing around with like evaluating performance, making a lot of pull method node data volumes, and they really got bit by this 60-second race with the image pull. So they are their image pull is taking longer than 60 seconds, but we kind of limit the other pod in the container to waiting only 60 seconds. So if the image is big and the pull is slow, we never adjust the 60-second timeout. And they actually, I think, flagged the correct solution here, which is to make one of the containers a proper sidecar container, and then you're guaranteed that actually it doesn't even have to be sidecar. You just have to pull the image. Could be any init container, and then you're only starting the 60 seconds, or you don't really need the 60 seconds, but you're only starting this 60-second count when it matters. So when the image got pulled. So I thought that was like an incredible analysis here, and they outlined the issue very clearly and presented like 3 directions. And we actually have a PR fixing it in main by Aviv, switching the controller to use Kubernetes image volumes. So that kind of fixes it for main, but
yeah, you mentioned, I saw you mentioned something about like that we should, that sidecar would be like the better solution, I think, in the issues comment in the comment after mine. I wasn't really sure about that.
yeah, I was saying that the third option looked the best to me. Like I don't want to start exposing this timeout maximum value or anything like that. I feel like there's no need to go there, where we could just express the dependency through init containers, or I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
sure what.
definitely.
Yeah, I don't think you even need to, like, we won't need this PR for main, but if anybody ever asks for a backport, I think that would be the most logical backport. Like making it the init.
A sidecar, yeah.
Yeah, either a side. To be honest, I'm having a cold feet on the sidecar. Maybe just init container has the same guarantees.
No, you can't. I don't think you can make it an init container since you need like the HTTP server to work like in the. Oh, or maybe you can. I'm not sure.
No, I mean, yeah, you could make it you could go the sidecar path, but I don't think you have to. You could just include a dummy init container that does nothing and completes in a second, and then you're guaranteed the image got pulled. So the 60-second timeout only starts after the image got pulled to the node. Like, all those init containers and containers are all on the same node. That's like a promise you get.
Yeah, but currently, I mean the current implementation, it opens like the HTTP server, and I think that you still need it like open.
Yeah, I'm saying keep that server running in one of the regular containers and just include an extra init container just for the image pool.
Huh? So why that instead of like a sidecar?
Just because there's no like sidecar is a bit of sorry, Michael, you're unmuted.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that the image that have to somehow make that image available to the other containers, you know? So if the container pulls it and exits, I don't see how that file could be made available to another container.
My impression is that it's just about the image being available to the node. You don't really need, like, the ready file will get there when the HTTP server does its thing.
But how does the other container access that file on the node?
I think we solve it with like a shared empty there. Maybe I'm missing your.
You can't, but then you'd be
I-
copying the file to an empty dir, which I don't think we want to do.
Yeah, generally looking at the cont implementation, it was a bit hard to understand why did they use why does it currently use HTTP server like to begin with and not just like copy the thing to like an empty dir, but just
Because then you'd be like copying twice, basically.
copying twice? Why?
Because you'd have to copy from the source container that pulled it to an empty dir, and then it would get copied from the empty dir to the target PVC. Whereas if you do a HTTP server or maybe there's some other way to share the file between containers that doesn't require a copy.
I see.
And yeah, I mean, if the image is big, then you're copying this big image to like a temporary file on the host, which you probably don't want either.
Yeah, I think some platforms will outright block you. You can't use the container file system like that. No, like you put like more than 1 gig and then it starts blocking you or something.
Oh, yeah, didn't know that this implementation existed.
So yeah, the HTTP server is just a way to access it from another container without copying.
Yeah, just it really there is currently the cont implementation. The reason that this issue exists is because like the 60-second then like with the ready file and the wait file, and generally I also tend to agree that it would work better as a sidecar instead of like the ready file and the wait file.
Yeah, I think if you just there may be a more efficient way to do it, but I think if you this was originally implemented before the sidecar containers were a thing. But I think if you just take the current implementation and make it a sidecar, you won't have to do this ready file business.
Yeah, it would seem like it really seemed like a sort of way to like imitate like sidecars, or kind of guess that it's and that it was implemented before sidecar was a thing.
Yeah, backporting sidecar, and the author flagged this too, is also a bit hostile because sidecar is, I think, not available in many OpenShift recent versions. So like if we want to tackle this in many old branches, and sidecar is going to be a pain. So always on the lookout for like the least disruptive solution.
Why isn't it available?
We've been using sidecar containers in Virt Launcher for a while.
Yeah, I put a link here. I guess it's safe. Just something to remember. To be honest, I'm not even sure this author is going to tackle it, or if they require a backport. They seem to be happy with the main fix.
He commented like on my PR that and I mostly just rooted for it, and I closed like his PR.
Yeah, I guess we'll it's something for us to evaluate whether we want this performance issue fixed in older versions. Maybe 1 or 2. And then if we only go back 1 or 2 versions, sidecar is probably not a risk. Like this KubeVirt PR is a year old or something like, no, more than a year old. So if they're okay, then I mean, if KubeVirt already makes that requirement, then we should also be able to. Yeah, I just thought I'd bring this up. It was a pretty interesting analysis from this person here. I think that's about it for the agenda. I'll ask again, does anybody have any PRs or topics to bring up last minute here? Cool. Thank you everybody for joining, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. See you. Bye bye.
See you.
Thanks.
See you.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.